So here we are. We're 3 weeks out from the election, and somebody's emails a Democrat's emails have been leaked again, potentially. But last time we had an investigation by the FBI, and then that might have impacted the election. This time, we have a whole different brouhaha. Apparently, Hunter Biden, who loves to smoke crack and has a serious drug problem. This is, he's a seriously, obviously troubled individual. But he brought 3 laptops to get them fixed and never picked them up, according to this story in the New York Post. So the New York Post runs a story with an author who is kind of unknown. And these laptops were somehow the hard drives. He never picked them up. That's a little suspicious. The hard drives wind up with Rudy Giuliani and the FBI. And anyway, what they say is that Hunter Biden, which we kind of know is a grifter who traded on his last name to get big consulting deals. I don't know what board anybody here has been on that pays $50,000 a month, but it's obviously gnarly stuff. But the fallout from it was the big story. I went to tweet the story, and it wouldn't let me tweet the story. So the literal New York Post was banned by Twitter. At the same time, Facebook put a warning on it. So let's just put it out there. Sachs, your guy's losing pretty badly in this election, and so we'll go to our token GOPer. What do you think? Is this? Let's take this in 2 parts. One, what do they think the chances that this is fake news or real news or something in between? And then let's get into Twitter's insane decision to block the URL.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, I think this whole thing is a tragedy of errors on the part of sort of everyone involved. I think the New York Post story stinks. I don't think it meets sort of standards of journalistic integrity. We can talk about that, but then I think Twitter and Facebook overreacted. And I think that the story was well in the process of being debunked by the internet. And it was like Twitter and Facebook didn't trust that process to happen. And so they intervened. And now I think there's going to be a third mistake, which is that conservatives are looking to repeal Section 230. We should talk about that. And so there's been a cascade of disasters that have led to this dumpster fire. But starting with the story, it is very suspicious. First of all, these disclosures about Hunter Biden's personal life, they didn't have to go there. It was completely gratuitous to the article. It was sleazy. And then, of course, this story about how the hard drive ends up with the reporters makes no sense. Even today, Giuliani was making up new explanations for how it got there. It's now being widely speculated that that the content came from the result of a hack. Maybe involving foreign actors, that this whole idea that it came from this sort of hard drive that he left at a repair shop and forgot to pick up. So that's now, I think that would have been the story today if it weren't for Facebook and Twitter making censorship of the story. And then the final thing is, this story wasn't a smoking gun to begin with. I mean, the worst thing it showed was that there was a single email between a Burisma exec and Joe Biden. And the Biden campaign has denied that Joe Biden ever met with this guy, and so it wasn't ever this smoking gun, and that makes it all the more apparent why Facebook and Twitter sort of overreacted. It was almost like they were trying to overprotect their candidate.
That's the thing that obviously looks crazy. Like, they now have given the GOP, the right, the extreme right, the belief that the technology companies are now on the side of the left, whereas last time they were on the side of the right, I think, right? Facebook was supposed to be on the side of the right last time. So, Chamath, you worked at Facebook famously for many years. What are your thoughts?
Well, Jack came out last night and basically said that the reason that they shut down distribution was that it came from hacking and doxing or I think that was basically the
combination,
excuse.
Yes.
A combination. And then Facebook today came out and said, before we could take it down, it had been distributed or read 300,000 times. Look, if we just take a step back and think about what's happening here, there are more and more and more examples that are telling, I think, all of us what we kind of already knew, which is that this fig leaf that the online internet companies have used to shield themselves from any responsibility, those days are probably numbered. Because now, exactly as David said, what you have is the left and the right looking to repeal Section 230. And by the way, 2 days ago, I think it was, Clarence Thomas basically put out the entire roadmap of how to repeal it. And if you assume that Amy Coney Barrett gets, put into the high court in a matter of days or whatever, it's only a matter of time until the right case is thoughtfully prepared along those guardrails that Clarence Thomas defined, and it'll get, fast-tracked through to the Supreme Court. But if I was a betting man, which I am, I think that Section 230 their days are numbered, and Facebook, Twitter, Google, all these companies are going to have to look more like newspapers and television stations.